All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I got about 12:02 right now. Looks like more and more people are joining. I got a couple emails saying that a few people are going to be just a little bit late, but I'll try to keep admitting people into the room here as we go. So welcome, everybody. I appreciate you all being here. What we're going to do real quick to get this meeting going. We'll start a brief round of introductions here. I know we got a few new people on here and everybody might not know everybody. So when you're going to do your introductions, I have 3 questions that were listed on the agenda. One of those being, and you can answer one or more of these questions, but what is the best piece of advice you were ever given? Aside from what you are doing now, what is one career that you would love to have? And with the pandemic hopefully ending, what sort of plans do you have? And then, of course, any agency updates that you have briefly and quickly. So we can just start and we'll do round robin. I'm going to start with Heidi first.
Thank you, Steve. My name's Heidi Starrett. I'm with Missoula Broadcasting. We're a locally owned radio group. I'd have to think a while on the best advice I was ever given. But the first thing that came to mind is it's not always what you say, but how you say it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
As far as other career I would love would be a pastry chef. I enjoy baking. And with the pandemic ending, I have 3 weddings that I'm attending this summer.
Holy smokes. That's a lot.
So it'll be a busy summer.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll pass it along to somebody else.
Okay, Kira.
Hi, Kira Huck, Safe Kids Montana, led by Foundation for Community Health. I think the best piece of advice is either just the golden rule, but also my mom was pick your battles. And then aside from what I'm doing now, I think I would either be a graphic designer, which I have done before, but I think I would go back to that at some point, or a florist. I can't grow flowers to save my life, but I like making them look pretty. With the pandemic ending, I don't really have anything planned right now, but I'd love to just travel somewhere. So maybe I'll make plans to do that. So, and then agency update, just a quick one for Safe Kids Montana. We've been working with a group of individuals on kind of addressing special needs transportation for children. And so we're just looking to kind of gather information about where resources currently are. So if you know of anybody who has a existing loaning program for seats, or is a specialty seat manufacturer, or works with families that potentially need specialty seats, if you wouldn't mind just letting me know. We're just trying to kind of track down where all those things currently exist. So, sorry, my phone. I will pass it to Rolf.
So, Rolf Tanberg, child passenger safety technician. I've done a couple of seats at the one at community, one at St. Pat's just recently, for families that needed to get out of the hospital safely. And the one at community, they didn't own a car, so we installed the seat in my car and drove them home to their residence at the old Palace Hotel. So that was a little bit more than I'd expected. If I was doing anything now, it would be, I wish I was a paleontologist digging bones out in the wilds of eastern Montana. And with the pandemic ending, we're going to have plans to go to the Ekalaka Dino Shindig in July. And we'll start with a dark night event at Medicine Rock State Parks, lectures on Friday, and out in the field on Saturday. And then this fall, I'm going to test the the COVID regulations on the airplanes. We're going to our football games, the Patriots and in Boston, and then Buffalo Bills in New York. And New York has some interesting COVID regulations, so it's going to be fun to see if they're still enforced when we get there in September.
Ah, interesting. And who would you pass it to, Rolf?
Well, let's pass it on to the Ludemans. There are two of you there, so I assume there's another officer with you.
So I'm Ryan Ludeman with the Missoula Police Department. I got Ross Collier here in the back. We're both with the traffic units. We're both on motorcycles enjoying the rain outside. If there was something else I'd do, it'd probably be like ranching. What would you do, Ross?
If there was something else I'd be doing, it'd be being a firefighter.
So I'll pass it to Shannon.
Ryan.
Hello.
And thank you. I'm Shannon Sproul, United Way, Substance Use Disorder Connect, and sounds like we're answering what we would do if we were not doing our current job. Is that, I was a minute or two late?
Yeah, 3 questions that were on the agenda there. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been giving? Or you could also answer, aside from what you're doing now, what's one career you would love to have? And, as a former police officer, I've always regretted not being a firefighter, but I did have an opportunity to do that for a very short period of time, but then I didn't use it at all, and then let everything go away. And now my son is working with Dodd as a brand new firefighter with Missoula Rural Fire Department. So that's cool. And then also, what, with the pandemic ending, what sort of plans do you have?
I'm gonna go with that one because I'm super excited to leave the house. My 18-year-old just graduated from high school last Friday and turning 18 at the end of the month. So we are taking a 10-day vacation to Olympic National Park and then down to Seaside, Oregon. So that is what I'm looking forward to. I don't know who's gone before me since I was running late. Leah, have you gone? Leah, you're next.
I was also running late. My name is Leah Fitzbrody, and I am with the Missoula City County Health Department, and I do substance use disorder prevention work. And for a while, I wanted to become a masseuse. I'm glad that I didn't do that because I know they had a hard time over COVID. But yeah, I've always liked that. So.
And who would be next, Leah?
I also don't know who went already.
Let's go Dodd.
Okay.
Hello, Dodd McDermott, Missoula Rural Fire, Deputy Fire Marshal. I guess the best piece of advice I can remember having right off the top of my head is don't squat with your spurs on. And an occupation I'd be doing if I wasn't doing what I would probably be a carpenter. And then I got lots of plans for some long trips on my motorcycle this summer, with the biggest one coming over Labor Day, riding with a bunch of other firefighters all the way back to New York for the 20th anniversary. So that's what I'm doing. I'll pass it on to Kevy.
Kevy, Foundation for Community Health and lead coordinator for Buckle Up Missoula, or Buckle Up. I'm looking at the agenda at the same time as I'm doing. I'm gonna put 12 things together today. Save Kids Missoula. Obviously, I have no brain power today, so you'll have to excuse me. I think the best piece of advice I was ever given was by my grandmother, who knew that I was going to be a talker. She said, shut your mouth and open your ears. So I think especially in this day and age, if we listen more than we talk, that's probably a good piece of advice. What's one career you would love to have? That I have no idea because I love what I do. So, and then plans we have, we had 2 large vacations that have moved about 3 times now with the pandemic. So I'm pretty excited that next month I'll go compete in a national pageant in Ohio. And then I'm meeting up with all my kids and some friends of ours, and we're going to Cedar Point. And then in honor of our 13th wedding anniversary, we are traveling to Florida and then on to St. Lucia in December. So never been to St. Lucia before, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Excellent.
And I don't know who else. Let's go. Miss Virginia, did you have your introduction yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I will pass it to you then.
Thank you. I'm Virginia Braun. I've just been a volunteer member for many years and just concerned parent. Now, thankfully, my boys are one's 26 and the other's 29. So they're past that really dangerous stage. I don't worry about them anymore. Best piece of advice that I've always lived by is do your work well and be kind. I always, if I was a journalist, I still write, but I wanted to be, I applied for the Journalist in Space program because I'm always been fascinated with space. That program, you know, exploded along with the Challenger in 1986. So they never did send civilians up in space. But I would love to go if Elon would invite me. And yeah, I have a family reunion in Massachusetts in July, and I'm looking forward to seeing lots of relatives. So let's see, I don't know, is that everybody?
No, let's go Aaron.
Hi, everybody. My name's Erin Root, and let me turn my camera on. I'm with the Montana Department of Transportation, and I work in the State Highway Traffic Safety section. I'm the Occupant Protection Program Planner, and this is the first time I've been able to attend one of these meetings. So thank you, Steve, for the invite. I'm happy to be here. Best piece of advice goes back to driver's ed days, and we had a group of girlfriends. We were all just starting to learn to drive, and we had one mom that hammered it into our heads about buckling up, and it stuck with me. And I think in a weird way, it led me to this career path. So buckle up was the best advice. If I wasn't working for the state, I would want to be an event planner, doing events and weddings. And plans for the summer, I turned 40 in July, and we are going down to Vegas to celebrate. So that should be fun. And then I have 2 kids at home. They're 7 and 9, and we don't have a summer program this year for them because of COVID. And so I'm going to be busy trying to work full time and keep them entertained and not fighting the whole summer. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, Steve, do you want me to do program updates now? You said there might be
actually, let's especially since you have to leave here in about 15 minutes. Yeah, if you could give me an update on what's going on with the state and share that with everybody, that'd be spectacular.
Okay, great. So I'll go through my notes, and then if you have any questions, let me know. So at the State Highway Traffic Safety Office, we are currently working on our highway safety plan that we have to submit to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration for our funding for fiscal year 2022. So we're working on getting that submitted, and then at the same time working on the applications that we've received for our subrecipients for programs like Buckle Up Montana. So we're working through all of that, and that will continue through the summer, and we'll be getting award letters out after we get confirmation of funding from NHTSA. So that's all to come, all really good stuff. And then our occupant protection assessment. So Steve's aware of this, and I'm not sure if he shared this with you folks, but part of our funding requirement at the federal level is that every 3 years, we, based on the status of our occupant protection program in Montana, we have to have a national level assessment, which means we spent a week with 5 experts in the occupant protection field, and they did a comprehensive review of our program, and now they are currently working on a report that outlines the strengths, challenges, and then some recommendations to strengthen our program in Montana. And so we will have that report in early July, and then we will use that for strategic planning. And so as soon as we have that out, we'll share it with Steve and the rest of the Buckle Ups, and then also our comprehensive highway safety plan group, so that we can start using that for planning. And there will be some recommendations that we always know, like, you know, they want us to have a primary seatbelt bill or primary seatbelt law. We know that, we always strive for it and we try for it. We have some challenges at the legislative level that we always work to try to you know, get them on board, but and then they also some of it's just limitations based on the funding that we have available. We're a very large state with a very small budget, and so we have to take that into consideration. But we're going to take the recommendations and do what we can with that. You know, they base their recommendations on like the ideal program, and we will do what we can, and we'll be sharing that with Steve, and I'm sure he'll pass that on with you guys at a future meeting. And then just some updates on the CPS program. You know, COVID, obviously, it was a tough year for CPS programs. I know everyone did what they could to keep operating and serving caregivers with the needs, and like Ralph was talking about with helping families. It sounds like a lot of our fitting stations are starting to open back up with their regular schedules of like Missoula Rural, I believe, is now going to be able to do their monthly fitting station again. And throughout the state, we're getting a lot more of those open again, which is great. And then our certification trainings, we are back offering those. We've done our best throughout the pandemic to offer those on a regular basis as we can, but it did have an effect as getting into communities to offer 4-day in-person trainings was difficult, but we've continued as best we can. We've had one recently in Belgrade, and there's actually one this week in Billings. And then we're trying to get 2 to 3 more scheduled throughout the state, and we're just working to confirm those locations and dates. So more to come on that. And as soon as we have those set, I will share that with Steve, and he can pass along to the group too, to anyone that's interested in sharing that. We're also trying really hard to keep our current technician base recertified, or keep them certified. They have a 2-year recertification cycle, and there's certain requirements they have to get done in that 2 years. And the pandemic did create some challenges for folks. So there were some alternatives offered to them, and our Montana base has done amazing. We are consistently above the national average with our rates, which is great. It really shows how passionate our Montana group is. But there definitely have been some challenges. Also, we're working through MDT. We have some funding available to us to provide car seats throughout the state. We generally provide over 540 car seats to our fitting stations throughout the state, and I'm working on getting those distributed. It'll be August, September timeframe for those. So we will get those out to the groups. And then Kira had mentioned that the special needs group that's been pulled together, and she's done a wonderful job pulling folks from throughout the state to get involved in that effort. And I am part of that. And we are working to bring in a training for CPS technicians throughout the state that's called Safe Transportation for All Children. And part of that effort is that we are trying to pull together various funding resources to put this on. It costs about $10,000 to do, between the training seats that have to be available during the training and then the cost of bringing in the instructors. But we really recognize there is such a need in the state of Montana to have technicians that are certified in the safe transportation for all children. So we are hoping to be continuing to meet on that throughout the summer, fall, and getting that training in place, along with the other efforts that group is working on together. So I know that was a whole lot I just spit out. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. You can reach out to me directly or through Steve, however that works. And I have to jump off here soon, but I appreciate you letting me give those updates, Steve.
Spectacular. Thank you so much for being here. And I really appreciate all the information and updates. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll move down. I'm just following the Brady Bunch here. Rich.
Oh, can't see. Hello, Rich Loos from the Missoula City Attorney's Office. What I would, I guess, rather be doing, I suppose, sometimes I wish I never would have left law enforcement and stayed in that profession. What we're doing after the pandemic, the wife and I are going to go to a Steelers at Browns game and on Halloween. It'll be my second trip, her first trip, so we're looking forward to that. I don't know if anybody left.
I was on mute there. Michelle.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, my name is Michelle Evans. I am a forensic toxicologist with the state of Montana's crime lab. If I wasn't doing something else, I'd probably be a veterinarian if I could get into school there. I got married in 2020, so this year I'm looking forward to going on a honeymoon. Now that people are starting to travel again. We leave on Sunday and I have no idea where we're going. My husband's planned the whole thing. So I'm excited about that. As an update, I send out quarterly reports of the toxicology section's DUI statistics that we get. And I sent some of that to Steve, and I'm not sure if he sent that with the group, but that is something that is a pet project of mine. I focus all of my work on doing driving under the influence of drugs cases. And so I like to send out those quarterly reports so people can get a more real-time snapshot of what we see in Montana.
Yeah, I think I shared those with the group during our last meeting, but I might have you next meeting if we could take some time to maybe go over that. That would be cool.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And congratulations. And I hope you guys have a great trip. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Jadine.
Hello, I was on mute, so it took me a moment. Hope everyone is doing okay in this rainy weather. Best advice is wear sunscreen. For a career, I would be a philanthropist because it marries, spending somebody else's money, but for very good causes. That both are near and dear to me. And what was the third question, Steve?
What are you planning? What are your plans after the pandemic?
That's why I didn't write anything down, because I have nothing planned other than work. Zero. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Reagan.
Hello, Reagan Meekum, the Frenchtown Community Coalition Coordinator. I guess whether the pandemic's ending or not, I'm heading to Florida on Monday and I couldn't be more excited.
Excellent. Yeah, and my wife with another group, the meeting she was with, they were talking about plans and trips that everybody's taking, and we jokingly said that after the pandemic's over here, we're going to go spend a week at Frenchtown Pond. So that's about all we have planned. So yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We'll go ahead and get going. First, I want to do a really big shout out to Charmel, who is not here today. The reason why I want to do that is because in this lovely weather, she is the one that I was finally able to find to do the car seat check this morning at Community Med Center. We had an individual call me late last night saying, hey, my wife is being released tomorrow, which is today. And he didn't know what time, but he needed his car seat checked. And of course, I always think, I'm like, you've had 9 months to sort of plan this. Like, why are we doing this so last minute on a rainy day? But Kira was unavailable. Everybody that Kira contacted was unavailable. Rolf was unavailable. My son was unavailable because he's doing some clinical stuff for his paramedic with Messi today, so he wasn't available. And then, of course, I had to run this meeting, and I wasn't able to get there and back in time. So finally, Charmel was able to do so. So big shout out to her. So if we could all unmute our microphones and just do like a really big scream for Charmel, I'll send her the recording of this, of just that section. So everybody unmute, and big round of applause for Charmel.
Yeah, Charmel.
Okay, awesome. So as we talked about earlier, Missoula Rural Fire Department, second Saturday of every month, that is coming up this Saturday. So if you could possibly hop on to Facebook and share that information out. It is by appointment only, so people do have to call to get that taken care of. But that's this Saturday is their next thing. I do have a blog post that talks about this, so you can easily hop on to drivesafemissoula.com and share that blog post to make it really, really easy. Some information real quick on seatbelt stuff, booster seats. Last month, I think I delivered 5 to Messy. I delivered 2 car seats to St. Pat's earlier this week. I put on the agenda 2 additional seats, but I actually have 3 in the back of my car, and that has now depleted my $1,000 annual budget. So we are good to go there. Any other updates from anybody about car seats, seatbelt, or anything like that? Rolf.
Yes, I still have a seat available. So if you, of the 2 I got last year in Helena.
Excellent. Excellent. Perfect. And I think Kira said that they still have a little bit of a budget left to buy some as well if need be. So sweet. I do have some other, yeah, go ahead, Rolf.
I've been known to buy a seat for a family if they need it too.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you. And I do have a couple other seatbelt buckle up related blog posts on the blog right now as well. So feel free to share those out. That would be great. I really appreciate it. And as a sort of, I'm jumping ahead on the agenda here. I really appreciate it if you guys share the blog post for a couple different reasons. One, it's hopefully a lot of good information. Thank you, Aaron, for being here. I appreciate it. But it also sends them back to the Drive Safe Missoula website when they click on that. So they can find out other information of what's going on, whether it be DUI task force related stuff, responsible alcohol sales and service training, seatbelt related stuff, child safety seats, all of that stuff. So if you could share those, absolutely spectacular. And I try to share those all on the Drive Safe Missoula Facebook page. And we'll get to more of that here in a little bit as well. So perfect. Well, we'll move on to DUI task force. Biggest news there. First, I just want to say shout out to the police department. Let's see, it was a couple weeks ago. I was riding my motorcycle northbound on Reserve Street, getting ready to make planning on making a left-hand turn onto Mullen Road. And I had a vehicle pass me at about 55 miles an hour. Got in front of me, or actually I sort of then changed lanes. I was behind them and they didn't drop down to about 25 miles an hour, made about a 5 mile an hour turn going around onto Mullen Road off of Reserve Street, and then pulled into Mullen Station. The guy sort of stumbled a little bit out of his car, a little wobbly inside Mullen Station, and then on his way back to the car actually fell down. Got on the phone with 911 dispatchers, actually approached the guy and I said, hey, look, I don't think it's a good thing for you to be driving right now. I want you to go ahead and park the vehicle. So he pulled back into the parking spot, turned off his keys and was like, I'm just going to walk home. And of course, then he walked around the back of Mullen Station for a while and then came back around front thinking that we had left. And myself and some other nice concerned citizens were there to make sure he didn't drive away. Ultimately, he got arrested, refused the DUI or the breathalyzer, I'm assuming, and fourth or subsequent DUI offense for this individual. So, so hopefully we helped save a life that night. Myself and those other citizens. So shout out to them. Shout out to the police departments for being quick on the draw to show up and make that arrest. I really appreciate that.
Good for you, Steve.
What's that?
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a while. I felt like I wanted to do the whole field sobriety test, you know, there and all that stuff. But yeah, it's glad not to have to deal with that myself. So other big news for DUI task force, Home Safe Missoula has finally dissolved. and they have given us the check. I thought it was going to be around 27, or I thought it was going to be about $20,000 is what they told me. They showed up this last week with a check for $27,790 and donated that to the DUI task force. So very helpful, and I appreciate that. There is a blog post on that as well. So feel free to check that out if you haven't. And Shannon, I would hope you would maybe take a moment and talk about the new SUDC group, if I'm spelling that correctly here. If you could take a minute or two to talk about that real quick.
Sure. So some of you have probably heard my spiel, but I began as the project director for United Way of Missoula County's newest initiative, which is a Substance Use Disorder Connect Coalition. Our sort of goal is to bring everyone to a single table from the whole continuum of care, from prevention, treatment, recovery, from 0 to 99, and looking at all topics and trying to find where the gaps are, not duplicating or repeating what's already being done, but to figure out where the gaps are and then try to work on those projects. We're in the process of obtaining a needs assessment, which I'm hoping will be done here in the next few weeks. And that needs assessment will help us jumpstart our progress forward, determining projects. I think that's probably the simple version. We had our first meeting. There's sort of two groups that comprise the coalition, a leadership roundtable and a working group. And the working group is sort of made up of folks like everyone here at this table, of all the boots on the ground folks who are doing the work day in, day out, and using the expertise of that group to move the needle forward.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, thank you for that information. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody here. Samantha said for road court that she was going to be here a little bit late. So if she hops in here in a little bit, I'll have her give us a road court update as well. Any questions on either Buckle Up or DUI task force stuff at this point? Okay. All right. I know we talked a little bit about the TikTok winner last meeting. Has everybody seen the video that I put together for the TikTok winner? Okay, so I probably don't need to show that again. Okay, I won't show that. The video is out and about, and I think Sheila even put that on her Mountain Broadcasting website too. If she was here, I'd say a big thank you to her. Up next, as far as TikTok contest goes, we're looking to do this with high school students this year. For those of you that remember, the TikTok contest with the university did not go as planned in any way, shape, or form. Even with $1,000 prize, we only had, for those of you that don't know, one entry into the whole contest, and she won the $1,000. So $60,000 an hour is about what she made, is what I calculated. So that's a pretty good little chunk of change for her on that one. That video is out and about right now. So and then so with high school students, I'm probably going to need a few volunteers to maybe help out with this a little bit, if nothing else, to help build and design the program, kind of based on the model of what we did with the university. However, due to the timing with the university, as far as finals week, all of that stuff was probably some of our major problems. Also COVID, with a lot of people off campus and things like that. It didn't work out. It's going to be a little bit different with high schools, because we plan on actually getting into the high schools with whether it be some of their youth groups or what have you, but I'll probably need some assistance helping build this program together. So hopefully in the fall is when we can launch this. We would like to do a cash reward again. We probably won't do like a big $1,000 winner take all like we did with the university, but we'll probably have some other maybe smaller prizes, but maybe start out with maybe a $500 first place prize, $250 second place prize, and like a $150 third place prize. Not 100% sure. Also looking to get different organizations involved, whether they can provide maybe some swag during the contest that we can randomly hand out to students that do this. So I probably need some help with that. If you are interested, if you could shoot me an email, that's the best way for me to keep track of all of that stuff, and just say, hey, I'm interested in helping out with the high school TikTok. And then we'll try to put together a small meeting and start exploring this process here really soon, if that makes sense. Any questions there? You're on mute, Shannon.
Not a question as much as a comment. I'm wondering, when you did the university one, you did it sort of as a battle of the universities sort of thing. And I'm wondering if you've considered doing the same thing at the high school level. I actually think it might be more successful at the high school level if you have sort of a Hellgate versus Sentinel versus Big Sky versus Willard versus Frenchtown versus Sealy sort of thing, that people could really make it into a contest.
Yeah, that is definitely a key element that we would like to carry over. So yes, absolutely.
And having said that, maybe considering even having winners at each school.
Yes.
So that there's a Sentinel winner and a Hellgate winner, and
yeah,
so
and we'll definitely have to look at that because I would love to be able to do maybe we do $100 for the top prize for each one of the schools, and we spread that out. But that's exactly why I want to get the group together to maybe have some dedicated time to work on this, to plan it, to figure out what's going to be the best, and then how to reach out. So yeah, you're spot on all that stuff. So it sounds to me like you're volunteering for the group.
I will. Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. That's great. So yeah, again, just shoot me that email real quick. Say you want to be involved in that, and we're going to go ahead and get those meetings here started real soon. So I appreciate that. Oh, look, Samantha is going to join us now.
Steve, are you going to do that around homecoming?
I'm not 100% sure. That'll be one of the questions I'll be asking during that meeting is, when do you think is the best time to do that? Because when we started this with the university, I was like, well, one of the reasons why we chose to do it when we did is because Curry Health Center was like, well, this is the month that we do all our, substance abuse awareness month. And, this is where we hit this really hard. I'm like, great, let's tie it all in. I got the project for you. You don't even have to work on it. Like, here we go. And, but then Sheila was like, what about finals week? And we're like, oh yeah, what about finals week? Let's try to get this done before finals week. And then it just didn't work out. So yeah, I don't know if homecoming is a good time to be doing that or not. I don't know, but probably good to get that message out before homecoming. I like that idea. So yeah, that'd be great. Hi, Samantha, how are you? Hey, can you give us a real quick road court update?
Yeah, road court is still kicking. We just had a graduate like 2 weeks ago. We're still working on finalizing that BGA grant, but Jill Valley from a local news station came and did a huge interview on road court. She's really trying to focus in. I think she talked to you too, Schmitty. She mentioned you as well, trying to bring more awareness and education around DUIs in our county and our state. So we're looking forward to that coming out soon for a little bit more publicity on road court and what kind of work we do, and just kind of highlighting the issue of DUIs altogether.
Excellent. That's great. Yeah, I think Jill Val, once she gets like the whole series of DUI stuff together, I'm going to try to put it all together like in one big, huge blog post so we can.
Ooh, I was going to call dibs on that blog post, but I guess if you're going to
Well,
do
no, absolutely. 100%. I could use your help with that. That'd be perfect.
Okay.
All right. Next big thing that I'm going to need some help with because I have no idea about this. So when I first started with this job, I spent my first week working with Lonnie, and she, this is right around fair time, 2019. And she didn't do anything at the fair, which I think normally she always had like the respect the cage out there at the fairgrounds, and all that stuff. And she said, look, we're not going to do anything with the fair because I need to train you and trying to get all the volunteers, ready to work the fair, all of that stuff. It's going to be a big pain. We didn't do the fair on 2019. So I didn't see that in process at all. Obviously COVID last year canceled the fair. This year, the fair is coming up August 11th through the 15th. Do we want to do the respect the cage at the fair? What I'm asking more so is I will need volunteers to work the respect the cage. If we do the respect the cage at the fair, that means I will probably need everybody's help to work different shifts, all of that stuff. But my main question for you, but even before that, is this an effective use of our time to be out at the fair, to have everybody volunteer, to work the exhibit? Or is there something better that we could be doing?
Steve, can I ask a clarifying question?
Okay.
I've been out there several years in a row volunteering with that. In the past, they required you to be there basically 24/7 from the moment the fair opened in the morning to the moment it closed at night. Are you aware if that's the same stipulation this year? One year I worked, they allowed us to bring it in for only like a partial time, and then it was only like 3 days. Are you aware what the stipulations are this year?
That I don't know.
So I think that might change the situation a little bit, because then if you're only looking at the fact that you can bring it in at a certain time and take it out, for maybe just a 3-day period, and you only have to do like, you bring it in and you do noon to 5 or something, that's a lot more feasible and a different discussion versus whether or not we have to be there 24/7. Because I know in the past that was the hard time. We were all working like say 4-hour shifts at a time, and you need at least 2 to 3 people during that 4-hour shift. And not only was it ungodly hot, but where they put you at, we didn't have the capability to have a tent or anything over. And so it just burned everybody out. So I think that has to be a conversation you find out first.
That was my question too, was just the time commitment, because I know that was always the big factor. Because it was, you're required to be there from the time they were open to the time they were closed, and that's
all 7 days.
Time. Yeah.
I think the other factor though too is that it's such a big thing that you have to move, and I think generally we had the sheriff's office move it. So you might have to move it how many times? Like if you take it there, take it back, take it there. I don't know if that's.
No, you got to park it. They parked it. They would bring it in at the beginning of the week. They would park it, and then they would have to take it out at the end of the week. And that's why you had to have it staffed the whole time. Like I think I did it like 5 or 6 years in a row, and it was ungodly because you literally parked it the day before the fair opened, and then you had to have it fully staffed the entire week, and then you could only take it out after the fair physically closed.
Right. Yeah.
So, but still, that's still 2 trips.
Yeah. And the sheriff's department is the only one that's allowed to tow the vehicle for one reason or another. I'm not sure exactly why that's the case. I think it must be with county liability. But they have one pickup truck that I think is too small of a truck to actually even be pulling that trailer. So
yes, it's not a safe towing setup that they have for the trailer. It's too heavy for the truck. They don't use load levelers.
Right.
It's just, it's not good.
Yeah,
I looked
yeah.
at it.
At least they only tow it in town, so hopefully speeds below 35 miles an hour.
One possibility would be reaching out to a service club and seeing if they would be able to provide personnel, manpower to man the exhibit. I do know that there's a new exchange club in town, and they might be looking for a project that they could adopt, and that might be one. So try looking at service clubs.
For those of you that have worked it in the past, because I had never have, I'd only stopped by to say hi when I was out there shoving my face full of cotton candy. Is it worth it, other than like the toll for obviously being very hot, the number of hours you're working, all of that stuff? Is it effective reaching the public?
And I was there, and this was, just during my shift, and I think I did it on like a Friday, so it's a little busier day. I mean, we were talking to people the whole time. So it's not that like, we were just standing there and people were walking by. Like, we were actively talking to people the whole time. And I know that year in particular, Lonnie had a nursing student who was doing a survey for her. So it served a dual purpose that year. It was helping her kind of get those public responses for the survey. But we were actually talking to people. I think the question always is, with any tabling event, is that accomplishing your goal? You're certainly getting visibility, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, we were actually talking to people, I guess. But
what you seem to find are the young kids that come in, and they're impressionable. And if you talk to the young kids, you can probably reinforce the idea that buckling up is a good idea when you're in the car.
So I think it kind of works both ways too. There was one year when the fair did it a little bit different, and they had a whole nonprofit educational section, and each organization actually brought in a specific game, and you were to do a game or activity with the child, and you could interact with them. That was a great year when the fair did that, just because you could have like some kind of a stationary thing that people could look at, but it wasn't something that you had to like man 24/7. You were able to do stuff a little bit differently. I don't know if they're doing that nonprofit section or, that activity section anymore. I think that what I found was there was a lot of storytelling that was shared. I think that somebody knew somebody that had crashed. For me personally, it's hard because I don't know how many people were impacted enough that would take that information and change their behaviors. And so I think for me, the question always was, I tried to go 3 or 4 days during that 7-day period for 2 to 4 hours a day. And even though I was busy talking to people the entire time, or I was, running the buckle up game in the back and racing against the children, and then the children were getting the toys, I don't know if it made a difference in behavior. So I guess also what I would ask you, Steve, is what is your projected outcome? Are you out there just to share stories and educate, or are you wanting to do something which, when you put basically hundreds of man hours into it, are you wanting to do something which will elicit a change in behaviors? So again, I think it's a great thing. I've worked it many, many years as a volunteer. I just know that it is a ton of man hours. And I think you would have to get more information from the fairgrounds first, as well as kind of answer a question internally of what is your anticipated outcomes and what activity or event would best achieve that. That would just be my feedback from having attended many years in a row.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, and the only information I have from the fairgrounds right now, $650 with a minus 20%. So $130, I think, roughly, less than that. So for the space, yeah, but yeah, the other questions, yeah, those are things that I would want to know. And I think obviously it's extremely good exposure for Drive Safe Missoula, since that is it's been its new name for the DUI Task Force of Buckle Up Montana Coalition. So hopefully that would lead to people going to the website. If that was the case, perhaps we could, maybe harvest some analytics with that. Like, did people go to the website, for one, whether that changed any behavior as far as, are more people buckled up, are less people driving intoxicated? Those are the things I don't know. Of course, with numbers being beyond what they have been, I think we're back to like 2007 numbers as far as DUIs and fatalities and not buckling up and all of that stuff. We've definitely gone backwards a bit. The need to get exposure on this is probably more than ever. So if nothing else, just that awareness that us as a group are working on seatbelt awareness and DUIs, hopefully that would, that's something that's got to take place. So I don't know.
Steve, another thought or a question is there another group that is working on something that's similar with the DUIs or the buckle up or driving safe? Are there any other groups that maybe the fairgrounds is aware of that have signed up that maybe we could partner with, so it wouldn't just be our group that's out there trying to work the activity, especially if we have to staff it 7 days, 12 hours a day? Are you aware of anybody else that's doing that?
I'm not aware of anybody else that's doing it. No. But I could find out and see, because definitely if we had a themed section, with more than just us out there at any one point, that might be a good thing. So, like, I don't know if Healthy Missoula Youth would be interested in sharing part of this, or what have you, or Safe Kids. We could go in this together. And maybe do something a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Other than working the fair, does the police department do anything specific as far as exhibits or anything like that, Ryan?
We don't. The sheriff's department usually has a booth there. But I think Ross is just telling me the weekend of the fair, it's going to be ridiculous in town because it's the fair, it's Guns N' Roses, Cheryl Crow and everything else. So it's going to be super busy in town.
So you're saying that you could get Guns N' Roses to work our booth for us? Is that what you're saying?
You might get a little bit more people to show up.
Because that would be totally worth it. Absolutely. If I can get Slash up on top of the respected cage with a guitar solo, that would be awesome. And if I can't get Slash, if you could dress up like Slash with a guitar on top of the respected cage.
I don't know if I can find the right wig.
That'd be the next best thing. Well, you're set. I mean, it's easy. Wig. I mean,
the fair is actually Wednesday through Sunday at late afternoon, early evening. So it's 4 days, the 11th through the 15th.
Okay.
So it's not quite as dire as 7 days.
Yeah. Worth doing? Not worth doing. What say you? I don't know. I don't know either.
I think, Steve, before we make a decision, I think it would be good to know whether or not we have to be there the entire time and the capacity of being able to move the respected cage.
Yeah, because we may be able to move it in, but then they may say no internal traffic moving in or out during the fair, even after hours. So that could be, we get boxed in an area and with other booths or something like that, and we can't move it out, if we can only be there for a day or more. Okay, well, I will give them a call, find
The
out more
layout
information.
at the fairgrounds has changed a lot since the last time it was done. Buildings are torn down, new buildings are going up. They've changed the layout for the food vendors and the trailers. So it's best to get that information from them, and then you can make a more informed decision.
Yeah. And the reason why I brought this up now is because I thought, like, earlier this week, it just hit me. Fair. Like, I haven't even thought about this. And then I went to their website, and it showed that applications had to be in by June 1st. But then I called them and I was like, are we too late? Let's find out. So, but obviously it's a no-go no matter what if I can't get people to work it. I definitely like the idea of reaching out to the service groups. Might be able to find some volunteers there, but they may be looking to work their own thing at the fair too, but it won't hurt to ask. So, okay. Well, I will find out more information, and I will send that information out via email sooner than later. Hopefully I'll find that information out tomorrow.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Does that sound good?
The fair people should be able to tell you who they hire to do different things at the fair. And then you could probably talk to different groups that aren't hired if they wanted to be involved. So that's the way I would approach that.
Excellent. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Super cool. Any other thoughts, ideas?
Steve, I'd be happy to talk to you about the possibility of healthy Missoula youth. I think the angle we would probably want to take is talking about marijuana and driving. So, but we should talk.
Excellent. Let's do that. Okay.
But Steve, is there any way we could involve young people in this who have had a DUI or, gotten busted or something like that, get them involved? Paired with one of us, I'd be glad to work, so.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know if I would be able to or even have the ability to reach out to people that have had DUIs to be able to share their experience. There may be very few who would be willing to put themselves out in that manner, but we could probably maybe explore that idea. One thing that I would love to do would be to get high school youth groups out there working it. So not only will them sharing the message with people about the story of the respected cage, maybe help influence others, but it will definitely help those that repeat the story over and over again. And then maybe that will affect their friends and family as well. So, that may be something, Reagan reaching out to you, or, Samantha, you have connections with Big Sky, things like that. I always want to go back to, Key Clubs or DECA or something like that to bring them out there to maybe do something. So, yeah.
And Steve,
I like
I
that
think
idea.
maybe, with Safe Kids, maybe there's something that we could do to partner as well. The other thing is too, is I know that a lot of the different beauty queens, we all have community service projects that we have to do. And so in the past, I know Lonnie tapped a bunch of us, and I definitely have a group of them that I could reach out to recruit as well. I do know that a couple of the last years that I was there, we tried to reach out to like the different school groups and stuff. Unfortunately, they were, oftentimes gone for the summer or out. And so even those times that we had somebody sign up, we didn't have a lot of volunteers show up. But there are places like through Safe Kids, we have access to like Parkside volunteer group. The Coles has community volunteers, which you can sign up through their website to get them involved. There's also Missoula Federal Credit Union has a group that is specifically volunteers. So I do know that if this was something that we all decided to do and if volunteers were needed, I would be more than happy to reach out to the volunteer groups that we work with to also help assist either with our Safe Kids portion, or if Safe Kids put in some time to help out during the fair, then of course that I'd have to kind of follow up with Kira, make sure what our capacity is, with just, you know, the couple, three of us as well. But I do know that we can have some volunteers that we can reach out to try to get some more volunteers to assist, even if we only had, like, say, 1 or 2 people from the coalition at any one time, if that'd be helpful at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'll find out the information from the fairgrounds, send that information out. We'll make a determination, probably via vote on email, and we'll call it good from there. So I hope that link actually goes through that I sent you guys. So, all right, I appreciate all the information. So still undecided right now about the fair, but hopefully we will know more. Looking to make a decision by early next week. So I just put, I'm going to move on real quick because I know we're out of time. Drive Safe Missoula blog, sign up sheet. I just put Google Docs in there. Super big mega bonus points to Sheila. She was actually the one person that actually sent me a blog post already. So I have that entered in and scheduled to be published on Monday morning at 8 o'clock on Monday morning. So she gets the super mega bonus points for doing that. And it's a really interesting blog post related to, well, there's some motorcycle crash data in there, but there's also a really cool heat map that shows like where the hot spots are in Missoula for crashes, vehicle crashes. So that's there. So feel free to do that. There's also some information I put in there on that Google Docs of whether you need some information. There's some great calendars from NHTSA on there about, you know, what particular months are, but I'm looking to fill that up to get 1 blog post a week from the coalition. That's how you can help me out the most, is getting those things on there so we can really populate that blog and get everybody's information out there. Sound cool?
I would like my super mega bonus points, please, sir, since
Did you
I
sign
signed
up?
up. I signed up as well.
When did you? You must
I'm
have
taking
signed
it
up.
back.
You
No, I
must have
signed up
signed
yesterday.
You signed up yesterday?
I signed up yesterday and I'm taking it back.
I didn't see it.
I'm taking it back.
Uh-oh. Well, I better
Yep.
get on there and look at that then. I apologize. So, okay. So Kevy, super mega bonus points. Okay, awesome. Well, super cool. Well, that's all I have, folks. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great and wonderful day. Thank you so much for all your help, all your report outs, and all the information you've shared. Stay tuned for emails to come about the fair. We'll talk to you later.